also ask Spirit to help me clear those out. This is what is part of what needed to occur. She made her choice. She will not make it to New Earth.
Ah.
I am accurate in what I thought and what I've seen and what I've felt. And don't allow her to change it around on me. That I know the truth, and that's what they're saying. This is what's kind of coming in with me right now. Okay. So I'm going to call on the energies of the north, the east, the south, and the west back to the north. I call on all the elements to come in and support us also. I align all of the elements with the north, east, south, and the west. So all of the elements are being aligned with the north, east, south, and the west. So remember how the pentagram took the elements? I'm seeing that right now. So this is part of Return of Christ stuff that I'm seeing, and this might be the full moon applied. But I am seeing fire with the north. No, sorry, earth with the north, wind with the east, fire with the south, and water with the west. So I'm going to write that down. Earth with the north, wind with the east, fire with the south, and water with the west. And I'm just channeling something really now. Tremble and shake. The earth will quake. And strange things will occur. Worry not the outcomes. They are divinely guided. It's time. All things are seen. And for all things to awake. Earth, wind, fire, and water. You are aligned once again. The earth no longer at stake. People will no longer forsake. Aligning home once again. Changing tides. New days have come. It's time to rise with the sun. north, east, south, and west. Earth, wind, fire, water, recalibration, realignment of power. Malachi and Prometheus. Oh my gosh. Okay. Malachi and Prometheus. So I'm sorry, I was channeling this through. This is for the healing today. This in the image I got is when Prometheus split the earth in two and moved it. Now I have brought in the north, and this is why I re-released the northeast, south, and the west yesterday too, because now that I've undone the elements from darkness, oh, I need to replace the elements with the directionals, and they will shift in the earth too. So this is truly a realignment of power. Um, and earth, wind, fire, and water with the north, east, south, and the west. And then the west continues the line to the north, as we know. But those, so I have to mention, is that we have recalibrated the directionals, right? Not only did I fix the north back to the north, all complete and aligned to the highest light and support, we recalibrated the directionals and we shifted the poles. So the way that the elements are aligned in the earth are also going to shift today. Okay. So that is what just came in. So let's pull a message for today for this full moon transmission on January 13th of 2025. So as some will know, recently I recalibrated I brought back all of the elements from the darkness portals. So they were aligned with the darkness portals, the pentagram, and that was undone. And all light has been brought home, all portals of darkness have been closed, and all of the new ones of light have been cleared and opened. And so this is important. This is important. Okay, this is big. This has to do with the weather. This has to do with the elements. This has to do with their location on the planet at this time, also shifting in power. Okay, so we have, yes, balanced forces. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Woohoo! Oh, I'm hearing one more. One more. Please show me what we need to see. Oh, my DM's energy is also coming in to be with me. We are totally united internally. So he probably feels all of these things. And he is definitely with me in the energy. I see him right by my side on a throne sitting next to me in my mind's eye. Yes, holding my hand. Yes. Okay, there's one more in here. Let me see. Where is it? Show me the card we need. Oop. Okay. So I do have animals, furried and feathered friends, right? Lots of love, but they have also been transitioned into New Earth. So I don't know the totality of why they're coming through here, but they are. It talks about love and support where we can get it, where um, it can truly be helpful. Okay, we have Realm Bridger here, Realm Bridger, right? Realm Bridger. So that's what this is, north, east, south, and the west, and all the elements be realigning with the true directional of the new earth. Because this makes sense. I didn't even think of this, but I undid them recently from the pentagram. The dark portals, they were using all of the elements, right? And they have been returned back to the light. So now I need to align those with the true directionals, north, east, south, and the west, in the recalibrated areas of the new earth. Okay, so this will also remove all of that completely from the old earth energy. So they will not have power of creation through those anymore where there is duality. Okay, so balanced forces. Okay, we have balanced forces, realm bridger. This is very loud. I didn't see this coming. So we have the balance of the elements into the directional, okay? Unique gifts. Okay, these are our power. It's power of the light, power of God's earth, power of Adam and Eve being aligned to new earth and what is right. Okay, transformation. Okay, and then we have vulnerabilities. So it left a weakness. It's leaving energy weakness, and we don't want that. We want to clear all darkness and bring it back to the light. I have removed them from darkness, but now we need to align them back to the light. Okay. So Farid and Feathered Friends really truly talks about anchoring into true love. The thing about animals is their hearts are pure. They don't judge people. They don't mock people. They have pure intentions, pure love, and they don't detach from their soul level. So this is important to understand why our furried and feathered friends can be such a benefit and such a way to receive love. Okay, so that is what is coming through today. I was doing this for Patreon, but we have had some people again in the energies choose to sway. And so I was going to do this just for Lisa and I, but I might actually upload this to YouTube because I feel like it needs to be seen. So I'm just letting that know again. So I'm going to read this one more time because I just channeled it through. Okay. All right. So I had earth with the north, wind with the east, fire with the south, and water with the west. Tremble and shake, the earth will quake. And strange things will occur. Worry not the outcomes. They are divinely guided. It's time all things are seen and for all things to awake. Earth, wind, fire, and water, you are aligned once again. The earth no longer at stake. People will no longer forsake. Aligning home once again, changing tides, new days have come. It's time to rise with the sun. North, east, south, and the west, earth, wind, fire, water. Recalibration, realignment of power from Malachi and Prometheus. So let's go ahead and begin. I have lit my candle. I do make these candles. They are filled with pure Christ light. All right. So just put your feet on the floor. Lisa, put your feet on the floor and your palms facing up because you may be the only one who received this at this time. But regardless, it's going to affect all of mankind. Okay. So just for others, if I do put this on YouTube, observe. Okay. We need to observe and see what's happening. But until you're healed to enough, it's hard to receive these, right? Because duality doesn't align. But where we're healed enough, you can. So that's tricky to say who can and who can't, but you can try. Okay. So some will be blocked from it, though. Those that were supposed to rise and chose not to with me won't be able to receive it, obviously, because the shadow's too large. That makes sense. So just put your feet on the floor and your palms facing up in receptive mode. The Lyrans are stepping in. The Galactic Council is stepping in. Saint Germain with the Akashic Records is stepping in. Tatanka is also stepping in. Archangel Michael, Archangel Malachi, Metatron is stepping in. Sandalphon, the Seraphim Angel Energy with Seraphim Angel Energy is also stepping in. Archangel Ariel is stepping in. Archangel Jophiel is stepping in. Archangel Zadkiel is stepping in. Archangel Azrael is stepping in. We are getting a full house here. My DM is absolutely right next to me. He's presenting on the left side of me and holding my hand intently. The full moon energy is being called in right above him, and the sun is being called in right above me. Kumpalayan Tarawa Otoa. Sekhmet united. Kumpalayan Tarawalik Leontua. Horus returned. Biluquantu. Telekan Telekintruayo. Eve and Adam united and whole. A new earth born. Kumpua tu ulikya tolokua taralataraya. Jesus and Mary Magdalene united and rectified what was done. Kumbo we are calling in his blood at this time. Kumpeleanto, and also calling it back from those who chose not to align. So we are calling back the blood of Christ with those who chose the shadow side. There's nothing we can do about that. It just will not combine with shadow, and we cannot be duality. And if you've watched any of my work, this makes sense. So I'm also seeing a bunch of snakes coming in, and so I feel like we're out in a forest. Okay, so Lisa and I will close our mind's eye. I don't know if I might share this on YouTube, but most of you will observe. Okay, but in my mind's eye, for those partaking, for those that wish to close their eyes and try to see and observe through this, I feel like we are in like a dome. There's like this dome, okay? It's a dome of energy, of protection, of light. And there's all these trees. All these trees are coming in and surrounding us at this time. They are very large trees. They look like redwood trees. I feel like we're in Northern Asia. We're in Northern Asia. So I'm calling in the energy of all the pyramids and of the poles that have now shifted to the east and the west. They are no longer north and south. I have shifted them to the east and the west, and I can see those. So the sun rises in the east, okay? And the moon energy is towards the west. It's reamplified, it's repaired. And I want you to understand that. So remember, my DM was showing to the left of me, and the sun is on the right. So that makes sense, okay? Kampala Antaroao. So the great northern star, the sun is to the east. Fire will be to the south. So we're calling in the energies of the south. And then the moon is to the west. The moon, very amplified, very amplified. With the water. The water will be called in to justify. So those are the energies that are coming in, and we are housed by all of the beings of light. You're talking Lyrans, Andromedans, the Galactic Council, Ashtar, all the angels are here. I don't think anybody is left behind. All the gods are present. It's just so many, I could spend all day naming them off, but they are truly all here. We are in the house, the energy of God, okay? So I'm putting up lots of protections around all of this energy. But I want you to know that in my mind's eye, it is as if Lisa and I are sitting in the center. Okay. And the earth's core is open right beneath me. And it's nighttime. The way I see this is it's nighttime. The sky is blue and clear. And I see lots of stars. And I do see all the animals, so I'm calling in all of the animals. I saw all of a sudden like squirrels and different animals coming into this bubble. So I feel like we're in this bubble, we're in this dome energy, and it's purposeful. And all the animals are coming in. This is why, duality cannot be present in this energy here. It just can't be. So something happened, somebody else chose to not come through. But this is why a decision was forced at this time, because they would not be able to bring that into this space, right? Because mankind deserves a chance to rise. They deserve love. They deserve support. And they also deserve people rectifying what they've done, okay, to help change the moon and the sun. So to the north is the great northern star. To the east is the sun. To the south is fire and remnants of what was done. And to the west is water, great water and the moon. And this is where I'm calling them into. Okay. Earth, mountains, trees, the soil, lots of soil, earth, wind, fire, water, earth to the north of the great northern star, earth to the north. We This is true recalibration time. So I'm getting a little emotional because this is big. This has been 5 years in the making for this to occur. So the Earth's core is also a replication of the sun and the moon, not just the sun. Okay, and we have the sun to the east and the moon to the west, both full and amplified, and both lots of energy coming in at this time. Okay, and I do mean a lot. And I'm going to bring a lot of moonlight through the west and into the core. And I'm going to bring a lot of sunlight through the east and into the core, amplified by the great northern star to the sun and all of the gods and the goddesses and the angelic presence to the south. Bulawan talay kianto, Bulawan talay kianto, ungkumpuay, Bulakonto. So I'm tuning into Pleiadian energy, a Pleiadian being coming in and around me of the Galactic Council. Great treasures are amongst you. It depends on the lens that guides you. I am a leader of the Pleiadian galaxy, a guardian of the light that we seek. A protector of the heart space of all of humanity, and I am here to help guide you through. There are many of us amongst your planet at this time, and we are here to help support you and also to help you align. For you must understand that these changes are beyond your limited mind. This is a galactic wonder, an ethereal expansion of many moons and many suns. Rest assured that you do not know all on the mind, but you can find it in a heart of love and light. Some of you are choosing not to rise, and we are letting you go. But others will choose to walk through the door and into the light of the sun, the moon, the one. We will be right beside you, for we are only in the light. We are not here for fear. We are here for truth. We are not here for judgment. We are here with pure love for all of you. It is time now to let go what limited your life, what held you back and kept you down in false timelines, in fear and manipulated control. It is time now to expand the light of the soul and make way for new. Trust that inner light. Trust your heart. That is where we will work through. But you must open up to the heart, or what we have called the soul path. You must open up and align to the truth of the soul to make it through. Make your whole soul. Allow your soul to become whole once again by eliminating all that you once choose. Eliminate the false and allow light to guide you, the sun and the moon. Kimpea Toloayo. For I thank you for hearing. Make room for movement.
Ah.
I like literally felt her step out. I don't do that very often, so I feel a little detached. Like, it was quite beautiful. What a beautiful energy. And so I just want to give thanks. That was a Pleiadian council being. The guardian of light is what she keeps saying. She is a guardian of light from the Pleiadian Galactic Council. So, the energy of the core of the earth opening up to the great northern star and the energy of the east, the sun, the energy of the south, all the gods and the goddesses and the power of the one, and the energy of the west, the moon, and what will be water, earth, wind, fire, water, earth to the north, wind to the east, fire to the south, water to the west. I call you in to the space and time, through the crystal grid, through the core of the earth, through the elements that be. I call you in to align. So with the sun and the moon and the northern star, I'm going to open our energy up for Lisa and I at this time. For that is all that can receive that worked with me, that is ready to align. But it doesn't mean that others will not be in time. But I am bringing through the northern star and the sun and the moon from the heavens above, coming in full energy bloom. So the moon is full and the sun is full, and these are massive, and the northern star aligned. Now remember, these are not the directions you are used to. It is not your normal north, east, south, and west. I need you to hear me on this. It has been recalibrated and shifted and moved. So I am realigning the elements to the true portals of God, the true portals of light. The pentagram was undone a couple months ago, I think, recently, and all elements were called home. Anybody with more shadow than light will not be able to use these for anything. So we are on a Pleiadian timeline. This is a timeline of rise, Christ path, soul path. Some are on it and others are not. Make way for karmic demise. You are already seeing this unfold and there will be more. So I am now seeing a grid of the elements. It's like a grid of the elements. Okay. We're over here, it's like sunny, and over there, it's a different the different elements in their grid. It's gridded in four parts. Okay. And the sun, for some reason, is in the wrong location. I'm going to be shifting it to the east, and the moon will reside in the west. And the great northern star, the earth element, will be to the north, and the fire to the south, so the wind to the east. Okay, and the water to the west. the way I'm seeing it is the sun is off. It's more to the west and north. That's where I'm seeing it. So I want to recalibrate this. Okay. So I'm bringing down the moon, the sun and the moon and the great northern star light through the upper chakras. And in this, I'm also removing energy of those that are no longer aligned to that path. Don't worry for the collective whole. This is individuals that were supposed to rise to help the whole, but didn't. So we're going down through the 18th chakra, the 17th, and the 16th, and I'm clearing out any debris, any connections that don't belong. I'm clearing out any muck and any yuck and opening up the chakras, going down to the 15th, the 14th, and the 13th. I'm recalibrating and justifying the 13th chakra with the great northern star and the sun and the moon. Also, bringing in the elements here. So I am bringing in the element aligned with the north of earth. I am bringing the element aligned with the east of wind. I am bringing the element aligned with the south of fire. And I am bringing the element aligned with the west, water. And the core is the soul. The light of the sun, the light of the moon are in the core. Okay. But also the sun represents in the east and the moon represents in the west, which will also be the north and the south, where your poles are. That's where they're shifting to. So I want you to understand that. So the northern pole is now the east, and the southern pole is now the west. And that is all recalibrating in the 13th chakra. This is Revelations. This is the return of Christ. 1000%. So I'm anchoring that justification into the 13th chakra as I draw down the light further through the 12th chakra, into the 11th chakra, into the 10th. In the 11th and 10th, there's resistance. So I'm cleansing out any energies that don't belong. The angels are filling in the spaces of those who chose not to rise for the collective soul. So there were supposed to be 10 people that rose with me that did this work because they took part in the downfall of Adam and Eve, Sekhmet and Horus and Jesus and Mary Magdalene, different timelines. And they all represented different timelines in those energies. And not one of them fulfilled their destiny. So I'm calling in that power. I'm calling all that power back so that others can have the opportunity in the new earth to rise into those purposes, those energies, those spaces, that love, that vibrancy. But also right now so that the angels can cover that energy because people deserve to rise. So as they were rising and were supposed to take part in the return of Christ work, it was also to help awaken the collective whole, to help awaken the collective soul and heal them in those levels of the shadow. And because they chose not to, the angels are not going to allow that to hurt mankind. And I feel like that's part of why the Galactic Council of Pleiadian Flight was stepping in and why Prometheus was in the message too. Because mankind matters. We're all connected. And so that will be covered. They are helping to balance that energy, to rectify and allow the collective whole to still be able to heal and rise to the whole, regardless of any sabotaging behaviors of others. Okay? These were like you, gods and goddesses and people who took part in the downfall in the original spaces of time. So the angels are going to help carry that so that people can still choose to heal and align. That way they can see, they can recalibrate, they can anchor into the right things. Because I'm not meant to carry all of that. Okay, so I'm into the 10th chakra with the northern star, the sun, and the moon, and I'm cleansing out some muck and yuck there. So it's changing a soul path and a purpose of somebody's. It's just rectifying that and removing that out of the blueprint.
Ah. Ah.
I'm bringing in more sun and more moonlight and the northern star to balance and rectify.
Ah. Ah. Ah.
So we're literally changing today. We are realigning the blueprint of the elements back to the true alignment of New Earth um, energetic points, right? Northeast, south, and the west. So the elements were removed from the pentagram, from the darkness, from the pentagon also, but all the portals of darkness, okay? They use the elements on the earth. Those are the portals that I closed down recently. You'd have to watch that one. And I am now putting them back into the earth portals of light to the north, the like the alignment of energy. I don't know how else you want to call this, but the north, the east, the south, and the west are now receiving the elements healed and brought back through the light. So I want you to consider I opened up the God portal, activated all the pyramids, Fiji, Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand, Indonesia, Kilimanjaro, Ecuador, British Columbia, Nigeria, Botswana, Zimbabwe. I have activated all those pyramids. We opened up the portal of gods. I have closed down all portals of darkness. And now the elements are being reactivated and amplified pure through the light of the one in the correct alignment of the new earth blueprint. So this is powerful. It is like a big set of energy that will hit the earth and all of mankind. Also, those who are not on the soul path and aligned with that light and that recalibration will not be able to use these at all anymore.
Ah. 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 Ah.
So I'm making my way now to the ninth and the eighth chakra and aligning the soul star, the soul path, the soul purpose, the soul light, the higher self. And the Akashic records are also active and open at this time because this is for the earth and all of mankind. And now we are going down into the seventh chakra, which is the crown chakra, removing debris and energies that do not belong. All connections of those that chose are removed. And going down into the sixth chakra, into the fifth chakra,
Ah.
which is the throat, and removing some debris within the throat so I can feel there's something there.
Ah. Ah.
I'm bringing in more energy of the northern star and the sun and the moon into the throat. The throat is out of balance, and they're just removing energies that don't belong.
Ah.
Kumboa alaya antarayua. So somebody recently chose to kind of go the other way, and so all light language that they were open to is now also closed off. So it is a complete disconnection for that energy, that individual. It is only one individual. And they probably won't be able to hear me anyways, so no worries.
Ah.
It's just removing it from the light of God, from the knowledge of God, because you cannot be duality anymore. That's not a maybe, that's a real thing. We cannot house darkness where the light is, and we cannot bring light where the darkness is. They cannot coincide, and the elements now get to realign the light and the alignment, the recalibration of new earth. And that's also why I uploaded the recalibration yesterday. North, east, south, and the west aligned back to the north. Now the elements get to fully back integrate back again. It's pretty cool. I'm excited. This makes full sense to me. Like, I had no idea this was coming. And today is also the 13th. So that is a portal of God. It's a very intense energy, justification, rectification, alignment with God, with light, with truth, with power. The 13th portal is that of Heaven's Gate, New Earth, heaven on earth. So this is very important because we are now rising through those portals. Oh, it's happening. That's why you're seeing things occur like the fires I told you were coming, and there's more. Okay. So I'm also seeing again the energetic grid, the element grid, and it's off alignment. So the way I'm seeing it is like the sun, the energy of the sun. Um, that's how it's presenting to me is like the sun shining on the earth. So I suppose that would be earth. It's more to the west, and I need it to the north. So now that I'm seeing that a little more clearly, I just see like the sun shining on the earth. But what they're telling me is that's earth. So I need earth to recalibrate from what now is what was the because I've shifted the north, east, south, and the west. Okay. The north used to be where the west is, kind of a thing in the energy. And now I need to move the elements to align with the recalibrated earth. I know it's a lot, but that's why they said it's outside of our mind, but it's real. It's very, 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 very real. So we're bringing the light down into the heart space, the fourth, down into the third chakra, the solar plexus, down into the second chakra and the internal zones, the main ones, the sacral, and then into the first chakra, the root, but then also going down into the earth chakra, also combining that to the soul chakra. Okay. So the earth chakra is being also combined to the soul chakra at this time, and the element grid. So that's what I'm hearing. So Lisa and I are fully into this right now, and others will be able to see this later, most likely. Those that align to it and can remove all the shadow, right? So some of the star seeds and beings will also tune into this at this time. But excuse me, for Lisa and I in this moment, it is happening in our Earth Star chakra, a realignment to the elemental grid right now. So it's like opening up for a recalibration of the grid of elements into the correct alignment of the Earth. Um, it's kind of like a compass, right? Directional flow, balanced flow. Was that in the message? Balanced flow? Mm-hmm. And then taking that light and our connections down through and in through the Earth Star chakra and now into the core of the earth. And again, I see all these snakes, but also all these animals coming in. They're in the dome. They're going to receive these alignments also. So that makes more sense to the animals. So all animals are being called in that are new earth viable. Some will have to be reborn, but they'll already be activated within it. But they're also getting a new element recalibration. This makes sense if you watch my work. So I undid the pentagon and all of the portals of darkness, and within those they had certain points and they were using the elements. So I have now called them back home, not to mention I have recalibrated the directionals, shifted the poles, everything is realigned and on a new axis, and we have combined into seventh dimensional galaxy. So all of this matters, okay? Now the elements must align to that. So we are being connected, calibrated, and aligned into the core of the earth. And more moonlight is pouring down, the full moon, and then massive amounts of sun. And now to begin the elemental shift, it is a grid. there is a grid I see in the blueprint of the earth, and it does kind of align with the seasons. And I recalibrated those in day 4 of birthing new earth. So I'm calling in the seasonal grid, the elemental grid, the element grid, the season grid of new earth, and we are going to bring that into the totality with all elements returned today. I know this is hard to fathom for some. So more moon and more sun, more moon and more sun. Kumpala Antoroa. So with the moon, I call in the water. With the moon, I call in the water. And the core of the earth is open. It is open and exposed, and we are completely anchored in, Lisa and I, at this time. I'm also removing all other connections to the core of the earth, removing them at this time. The crystalline grid is also being heightened. And then the earth element grid. So the directionals, the weather. You'd have to watch day 4 of birthing the new earth to understand that more. I did that too. New seasons. So they're expansive, they're widened, they are not so dense in energy. And so the elements will also be able to expand into their full power of the moon and the sun. The trees are beginning to shake. So I'm drawing in the full moon and the sun into the core and through the core into the crystalline grid and also into the season grid, the chakra grid of the earth too. And then from there, it's rising up and it's coming up through the trees right now. And so I see the trees kind of cracking. I can hear them cracking and shaking, and they are aligning to this power. So this is big. I know this may not sound real, but it's very, very, very real. So I'm taking mass amounts of moon and the sun through the grid. Um, Lisa and I are connected down into that because she's a part of this journey. Um, she's also in my Patreon and choosing to rise to new earth and do the work. So that's why. Um, but we are receiving this, so it's starting to rise up now into our connections also. So it's rising up through our connections I just took down and in through our earth star chakras and into our feet. So the northern star aligned with the northern point of the new earth blueprint. It has been justified and recalibrated. So where you used to see north, consider that's now kind of east. Okay, and where you used to see south is now west. New Earth blueprint has expanded and shifted and recalibrated. The poles have shifted. I've done it many times in activating the pyramids and more. So in the like crystalline grid, I can see like ley lines, and these ley lines are going to be realigned with the elements. Okay, so we're using like this ley line grid. Like when I called in the full power of the sun, I did it through ley lines. It's that grid. It's not the grid that you're used to. It's slightly different. So there are some areas who won't receive this at all. Particularly what you're seeing happening on the planet at this time. Like there is a particular area that has been cut off from that of life. It doesn't belong here anymore. So there is an energetic grid blueprint that is also old and a new one. So the elements are going to start filling up through the new one that are going to align with the right justifications of the north, east, south, and the west, and then fill the west back to the north. So I'm going to begin to bring in the element of earth. Element of earth. Now remember, it was what I see is off to the east, where it should be the north, because I recalibrated that. So through the core and through the ley lines, I'm calling forth the element of earth. I can see it in many energetic waves in my mind's eye. So dirt, soil, greenery, roots, a lot of things that make up earth. Okay, earth in general, earth, soil is one of that's heightened. And I'm calling that element to fill through the ley line blueprint and align with the new north. Earth, north, northern star, earth, north, northern star. And this is recalibrating through our energetic grid as well. So those who rise will align with the new blueprint of new earth. Also, I'm seeing crops. So as I'm doing this, I see crops across the earth, and some are going to go dark. Some crop fields, some farmland is going to grow dark, and I feel like this might be genetic modifications. It doesn't align. Some croplands are going to go dark, and new life is born. This is true. I see this big time because of this, especially. So, from this day forward, especially, there are crops that will cease to exist. They will just start to die. And in many ways, it could be elemental, it could be lack of support of life. It just depends. Okay. Some will be purged and some will just die. And then other ones will flourish and new ones will be born. Communities will also start to pop up, like communities, and we will grow together. Okay. This is crops and foods and life support of food. Earth, new earth blueprint applied. So I'm calling in more of earth and I'm starting to fill it into the true north, which would be what you knew as east. Okay, so we're recalibrating it. Wait, sorry. It's confusing. It was and was now the west, and I'm moving it to the north. Um, so consider that since it's shifted, it is what you used to know as east. I know that's confusing, but it's there. It's in your heart space. True heart space beyond the shadow is where you will find this and where you will activate to it. So, energy of the north heightened with the earth. I call you forth to align, align in real time, align in truth. So all of what was earth is being reborn, rebirthed, and brought into the grid of new earth, aligned with the north, the earth and the north and the earth, north, earth. And I anchor that in to the new grid of new earth. The crystal grid, the new chakra system of earth is also aligning to that. And then to the east, I call in the wind, the element of wind, the element of wind, the winds of change, and the sun. The power of the sun. So through the ley line grid, the sun, and all of this is just rising through my blueprint and that of Lisa's at this time. And once they're done, I will bring the light all the way through. So the energy of the sun and the winds of change, the sun, the warmth, newness, rebirth, wind, change. I see it filling into the ley line. So the element of wind. So now we have some of the blueprints not birthed yet. So it looks kind of gray, but the north is earth. The east is wind and the sun, the powerful sun. Make way for changes and knowing of all that has been done. The winds of change represent on the east, often creating things of strange. Change, change, wind, change, change, wind, wind, change. So I am seeing wind come in and change some things. Mass gusts of winds bring change. And I see that going into the skyline also. The winds of change often make things seem strange. Sudden gusts of wind, change, movement, the sun. This is also a change in power to the sun. And now I'm going to the south. And in the grid, I'm drawing it up through the core of the earth. I'm calling it in through the elements, fire. So I'm shifting fire to the south. So that would also, it's not the grid you used to know. It's not your normal north, east, south, and west. It's calibrated, went over. Um, yeah. Fire to the south. Power of all. Power. Recalibration of power. So this I'm seeing the grid of power. I'm seeing the power grid. The power grid will shift from false poles in your external world to the energy of the pyramids in the crystal grid. And so I'm seeing this with represented as fire in the south, aligning with the south, the energy of the south, the fire, 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 the element of fire, power, power, power change, power shift, power grid, power grid. Okay. So I see, I see, I see electric poles just poof, just poof, just poof. And then I see like this big power plant. Where is the largest power plant on the earth? Because that's what I hear in my head. The largest power plant of the earth, I just see all of a sudden go poof and spark and poof, and it's like a poof, like a big pop, a big sparks. Poof. I see it like over Vamp. I guess you could call it like a sudden surge to the biggest power plant in the earth. Um, and I just see like this sudden surge, or like, and it's just like a, and you could see it come out of like the power plant itself, like all of this just massive surge of power and like an explosion of sparks. Um, so undoing the largest power supply, which is false. The true power grid comes through the energy, the sun and the moon, and the pyramidal grid, and the crystals too. That's the way it used to be. And that's what they were trying to tell you on the pyramids. That we are all connected. We are all part of that energy and light, and we do affect it. It is a power grid of pureness. Okay. So then I see fires, more fires sparking up, but for the intent to release the false power system. And now we are going to the west with the moon. And the moon is amplified. It is very powerful. So I'm going to bring it in. I need to draw in the moon, like a big old chunk of the moon, and just kind of shove it onto the earth. And as I do that, I feel the water begin to shift. So the water is being called to the moon. So as I'm amplifying the moon and shoving it down to the earth, I feel the water being called to the moon. The water is being called to the west. It's shifting. It's shifting in the grid. I can see it's like a shift in the grid and the elemental pull. The water is being pulled. It's being recalibrated to align to the full power of the moon, the new moon. It's been reborn. It's a whole new moon, and it's recalibrated as well. And so the water grid is shifting. And so I'm seeing water shifting. I'm seeing water drying up in some ways, and then I'm seeing big waves of water come in others, and new waterways forming. Um, so I feel like some land will dry up. They will lose water supply, where other land will become bountiful with water. And sometimes like floods of cleanse. Consider elements are also meant to recalibrate and recharge and regroup. And so I do see some floods of cleansing. Water supply, water grid. Also, I see some water plants imploding because they're not supposed to control water. And so I see this happening, but I see like some dam is coming undone. There's a dam, a massive dam. Be careful because a massive dam is going to collapse. This is built by man. This is a huge dam, like a huge waterway, huge dam, and it's going to collapse. So I see the water get like more pressure coming on this dam, more pressure. And I feel like wear is not coming through because it's not about fear. It's just going to happen and it will cause major changes. So major changes to the water grid. But there is some man-built dam, and this might be all of them. I don't know. It's a very large one, very like the Dover Dam. I don't know. Why I heard that. I don't know. But I see this large dam, and I see all of a sudden a crack coming through the dam, and then all of a sudden this water bursts through the dam and just comes in and floods. Like you cannot control water anymore. No, mankind cannot justify, hold back water and control water. Also poisonings. There's poisonings of water that I'm seeing coming through here. So where water has been poisoned, will purge. It will purge. It will rise to the surface in mass amounts in different colors. So like you'll see the toxicity in the water. It'll be represented through like algae or some kind of toxicity. I see that happening. And then from the west back to the north. So I take all elemental power, earth, wind, fire, water, all elemental power, and I call them all back to the north. All of the power going all the way through from the west back to the north, right? So we started with earth, we went to wind, now we're drawing those all together. Wind to fire, earth, wind, fire, water. And now all of those back to the north. All of those together back to the north. So it's like a wave of earth, wind, fire, water, whoosh, back to the north. Huia, ilikiantarawa iloa. So this will be a very powerful, and as I do that, I feel like this sudden shift in hemisphere. A sudden shift in hemisphere. Like even uh how do I put this? So, you know how our uh let me try to put this into words for what I see. So in energy, so I almost want to say it's like magnetized. You know how you can get goosebumps and your hair can stand up on end? It's electric. There's like these magnetized atoms within the energetic system. Okay. And as I did that, I see this huge like boom, like everything becomes extremely intense and magnetized and kind of like like um like when you get static in your hair. That's kind of what I see. It's like boom. You know what I mean? Like everything in the atmosphere becomes staticky, amplified, like boom. And then I do hear a crack in the earth, and a big. So as these shifted and I'm recalibrating them in, the earth will have to adjust. And I do hear like big like big movements, and I see big movements with each elemental shift. Big. Consider the elements. They are shifting. So it is recalibrating. And now from the core up to the dome, I see it shifting. It's almost like this blueprint grid that I can see. And it's almost like if you see a map of the world and I see it shifting. I see this energetic, atomized grid just kind of going whoom and shifting. And so all of the elements have shifted and realigned, but also returned back to full power. They were not even in full power, you guys. Oh no, they were not in full power, but they have been returned back to the light. So there's atomization happening in the atmosphere. That's the best thing because I could see like if you rub and your hair like stands on end, it's like this electric magnetic field amplified in the atmospheric, the barometric pressure. And now I'm calling in more moon and the more sun and more moon and more sun. The moon to the west with water and the sun to the east with wind but warmth. Also calmness. Just because there's wind doesn't mean it doesn't be calm. There's a pattern to wind, so remember pattern and balance. Rejustification of life support grid. Power grid shift, power to the east, the sun. Power has now been shifted to the sun, the one, the dome, the moon, and the earth too. So I see false water systems falling, false food systems falling, false waters. I said that already. False power grids falling even more. Um, and a shift in life support. And then I also see big waves of water. So the water truly will like I don't know how else to put this. It's like if you take a swimming pool and you're like whoosh, and there's big shifts in the earth plane, so earth plane shifting, and then big movement in the elements. And even though you may not understand what I've just done, I truly did just realign those. And so I'm anchoring them into the new earth blueprint, the elements. This makes sense. I didn't even think about this because I just removed them from the false portals, from the portals of darkness, the energy of the pentagram, and any shadow. And now all the animals are getting a upload of that blueprint. And I'm drawing in all of that recalibrated energy and divine presence of the sun and the moon and the elemental alignment through the north, east, south, and the west, and all of them back to the north, right? And that's coming through my energy and Lisa's at this time. And all the elements are working in conjunction to recalibrate and justify and purge and cleanse and realign. So I see a quake, like the earth shake, and a big opening into the skyline is what they're showing me. So this earthquake is not representing on the floor. It's massive and it cuts through the skyline. So it's like an exposure of um a false system. Like it's a quake of a false grid. It's a separation of a false grid, but it also will cause people to see. So that's why I'm seeing it in the skyline. It's like this biggest quake you've ever seen, like the biggest crack and a division and a shifting of the earth plates, and then like ionosphere. I keep hearing ionosphere. And then so I see people looking up and seeing things differently. That's what I see. Again, we'll see what that means. So now I'm showering the earth with the light of the moon. And just like I've done with the sun many times, I'm shoveling the moon into the earth. So it's going to go through our crown, through our through our third eye, through our throat and our heart, and all the way down our energetic system. but it's like mass amounts of moon. So I'm taking chunks and I'm just shoving it in, and I'm taking chunks and shoving it in, and I'm taking chunks and shoving it in. And all of this work that I just did is like amplified. So I undid all the darkness from the moon, but on the earth, there's something in the shadows. So I'm using the moonlight. Listen carefully, because I don't, this is what they're telling me. I'm using the moonlight, and there's something on the earth that's still been hidden in the shadows. And so I'm bringing it in. Deals with the White House. So when I activated Kilimanjaro, I said that we demolished the White House. So this is further justification of that, I guess. But there's also something because I see the land. I see trees going from shadowed to light and amplified through the moon. So the moon is bringing light in so that all can see things. I know that's a lot to understand, but it's true. So the moon is removing some shadow here. There's something not being seen and it's being cleared by the light of the moon. This is masculine energy, pure masculine energy, and also a justification of Horus and Jesus and Adam. That's what I see. A justification of Horus and Jesus and Adam, and all of this moonlight just blanketing the earth so that everything will be seen. Nothing can hide in the shadows. So on the moon, there was a dark side of the moon. And I don't know if it was Horus return, one of the things that I've done with the moon is I removed all of the darkness of the moon. Okay, all of it. And now the moon is removing all darkness of the earth. The moon is removing all darkness of the earth, and I'm taking moon and shoveling it into the north, and I'm taking the moon and I'm shoveling it into the east, and I'm taking the moon and I'm shoveling it into the south, and I'm taking the moon and amplifying it into the west, and then again, north, east, south, and the west. And I just keep doing that with the energy of the moon and into the core, more moon. We need more moon. We need more moon, more moon, more moon. And I'm taking the moon and I'm shoving it into the core. And the moon is now growing and growing and growing to even a size bigger. More moon, and the sun together. More moon, and the sun together. Moon through the water and through the water. Atomizing, like it's in the creation of the water. It's in the creation of the earth. It's in the creation of wind. It's in the creation of the fires. Fires are amplifying through the moon. It's like, wah, bam, wah-bam, with all this moon and the power and the moon and the power, and it's removing all shadow from the earth that remains. And this will continue for 3 days. This moon amplification and intent and clarification and removing the remaining shadow from the earth will continue for the next 3 days. It's like bam and bam and bam and bam. It's going to continue to hit every point for the next 3 days. And as it does and it rises through the earth, all shadow will be amplified and removed, exposed. Some to do with the earth, some to do with wind, some to do with fire, and some to do with water, and then some to do with all. And then I see more power grid. Boom, 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 boom. Just all these power lines of power grids. Boom, boom, boom. And more dams just and water coming through and the earth cracking and things moving and water coming in above you and something happening, a biggest crack you've ever seen that causes all to see clearly. Kumpelean tarawala tarawala ua to ua. Kumpeleya budawayo. And all that just rises through me and out into the dome and the sun, home, the moon, home, the sun, home, the moon, home. The moon, as of today, will remove the remaining shadow that was still present. And for the next 3 days, this will be powerfully amplified and in waves like you've never felt before. Kimpala ay taraua, particles of energies amplifying and expanding. So your ionosphere is expanding, the atmosphere is expanding and heightening. And it's like all of our hair is on end. Like that's what I feel. And the energy of the atmosphere, everything is amplified, everything is heightened, everything feels all the elements. It is heightened. My DM, the energy of the masculine and the moon is home, and it is amplifying. This is times two, times two, times two. So that energy will continue to rise through all, through the earth grid, through the crystal grid, through the pyramids, through the trees, through the energy, through the earth, through the breeze, through the fire, through the water. The sun rises in the east, and the moon balances her in the west. The northern star lighting up the north, recalibrated no matter where you are. Something's been changed. Something is strange. Things aren't the same. It's better to close your eyes and look to the heart space, then look to the skies. Release all karmic demise. Pelean con toi. So the moon is now going into my heart space, and there's something on the right side that the moon is going to amplify to remove, and that's what I'm hearing. So I feel like this kind of this yuck in my heart space, and I feel the moon coming into the right side to remove this. The moon coming together with the sun, the moon coming into the light of the one, the moon coming in conjunction to the right side, the feminine. So this is all masculine light coming into the side of the feminine to help remove the damage done.
uh,
So the moon is being amplified on the right side as well as the left, but on the right side, which is that of the sun, the feminine. It is amplifying into the feminine side the wholeness of the heart of the one to rectify what has been done. And you guys, I just literally saw like something's now been plugged in. That's the image I get. So the energetic grid has now been reborn. The system grid has been fully reborn and plugged in. And the false energetic system will now fall.
uh, uh, uh,
And then I see the masculine and feminine side and the heart space coming together and repairing, mending a bridge. And then there's water under the bridge. That's water under the bridge allows your emotions to flow and a bridge to be healed so that love can flow.
uh, uh.
And that is all I see. So I'm going to anchor this in through the sun and the moon into the core of the earth. And everything will be like atomizing, like the energetic system of the earth is being rebirthed. The power grid of the earth is being rebirthed at this time and amplified. And the moon right now is going to help expose whatever darkness is left unseen on this planet, on the planet. So where there was like shadow on the moon, the dark side of the moon, that's been removed. And now the moon is removing any shadow that remains on the earth. So things not seen. And wasn't that part of the message? Full awakening? Yeah. The moon. The moon is what needs amplified. The moon is what needs to be seen. The moon is what needs to be felt at this time to make everything right and aligned, to bring light and knowledge of the sun, the feminine, love, love amplified. And I'm going to continue to see the moon sprinkle down and remove all that is not. Winds of change, waters so strange, earth moves beneath you, and fire to purge and cleanse and make new. So I'm going to anchor all of this in. Integration will take 3 days for even Lisa and I too. All of this is recalibrating in our connection in our Earth Star chakra, and the sun and the moon is help cleansing out and balancing, and all of the elements are helping to recalibrate and balance our energetic system. The Akashic records have closed. And the gods and goddesses are dissipating and going across the earth and all the angels. And I will be bringing something to help the twin flames. I don't know what that is, but the last time somebody else left their journey, I brought the Sistine Chapel